Panderers. Tonight we're going to talk about civilization, civility, and the end. Societal breakdown. It's going to be great. Join us.
Forbidden subjects.
Forbidden subjects. So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. The taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual content, and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles.
That intro still sounds great, probably.
Yeah, probably
Love
does.
it, folks.
Most certainly
Well, I'm
does.
Nick. I'm Nick.
Dan.
Everybody knows that.
I'm the
Today we're
likable
going to
one.
talk about. Oh, that's debatable.
I'll debate it. I'll win.
I wish I could convince you I'm the more likable one. That would really be something.
He's got it,
wouldn't
folks. He's got it, folks. I trust him.
Got it. Today we're going to talk about civilization, pre-civilization, post-civilization, civility. Did anyone want to touch on civility just to start it off?
So I have two things before we kick it off.
Oh.
I have a correction. It took us 50 episodes to realize that it wasn't Travis Barker who had the crazy alien UFO theories. It was Tom DeLonge, Blink-182.
Of
Blink-182.
Blink-182?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was wrong by
know.
band member. He's in contact with these people and they know these things and everyone's
in the airport, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe in the airport. I remember that episode. That was a good episode. I would check that out if I were someone.
I would too. And
then
then
I replaced Tom DeLonge with Travis Barker.
And then I have another thing, but we can get that at the end. I'm not sure if I want to. I don't know if I'll be able to focus after I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I want to see exactly what the other flavors of this. Oh my goodness! So I'm gonna do it now. So I got this at the store, Sprouts, which you probably don't have. Farmhouse coulter, gut shot. So a probiotic.
I know what that is. Wait, is it a kombucha?
Yeah, that's exactly what it. How do you know that?
Yeah, I know a little bit, dude.
Kombucha.
This stuff hit the East Coast a while ago. I'm gonna let you know. I bought 2 of them from my local Sev, and I actually enjoyed them. I just didn't like spending $4.99, so I never bought another one.
Yeah. Did you get this Farmhouse coulter one? This is not a paid product.
Mine was it was like a peace symbol sign and like the Indian type thing for infinity and good luck and all that. Anyway, it was pretty decent. And it had a real crazy flavor, and if you shook it, it bubbled.
Yeah, mine's bubbling right now. It keeps seething. They have amazing.
You have to sip it. It's very like a tea. It's like a black tea.
I hope that's a tea.
Stuff.
Is it? Wait. Let me take a sniff. Oh God.
Oh, come on, dude. Go for it.
So they have a. They have classic.
Oh, you have flavors? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have the flavors. There's a classic caraway, garlic dill pickle, ginger beet is what I have tonight. Ginger beet.
It sounds pretty good. I would do some ginger beet.
Yeah.
My VOD key.
Oh no, that's a good mix. And kimchi and smoked jalapeno.
Ooh. I would do that.
So here we go, ginger beet. God bless, save my soul.
Nice gut flora there, huh? You trying to get in shape or something? You trying to detoxify the body? Hey, you look like your body's not used to it. That's the problem. That's a personal problem.
Wow, I need some. Oh, something's happening. I'm turning red. I'm turning violet. Oh my God.
From the inside. From the 1970s, folks, or 60s. When was that movie from?
Oh, I have no idea. My eyes are watering. This is changing my DNA.
I have a similar problem.
Very salty.
So, as adults who drink adult beverages on the podcast, I make a mixed drink, in a glass that's very full, and we're here for like an hour, so I have to make like a reserve. I make more.
Yeah, I make two.
Well, I'd make it in a half glass, right? I just need to, well, here's my big problem. Okay, I made a giant chunk of ice and I put it in there. I just realized it's gonna melt, and where's that all gonna go? I got no room for melt, so I have to drink this almost raw.
Surprised no one's ever come up with like an alcohol that could be frozen, like an ice cream, and you just lick the alcohol out of the ice cream, like a sorbet.
Oh, that's my gut flora being rearranged right there. Wow, we're both getting healthier. Isn't that incredible?
I do feel energetic. There's probably caffeine or something in here. I don't know what the heck they.
Some of them do. Actually, started on the West Coast, I think. Am I right?
We're gonna have to figure out probiotics in one of our upcoming episodes. So tonight we're gonna talk about civilization is to kick it off.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes a civilization?
Do you know what makes something civil? Civility. I have a definition right here.
You did.
It's a noun. Formal politeness and courtesy in behavior or speech. Polite remarks used in formal conversation. I thought, that's interesting. It doesn't really tell us much about civilization, but it does tell us that there are rules, right?
Yeah.
That makes up a civilization. Rules and being nice to people.
They define civilization as subsistence, so food. You have work. You get a settlement, so you're sedentary, or sedentism, as they call it. You have a government.
Standing in one spot.
Social stratification, which you have levels of different people doing different things.
Love that, folks. Love that.
An economic system, so you have pretty much money, trade, something that's kind of centralized. Literacy, so they speak the same language.
That makes sense. I guess that would really suck if they weren't.
Cultural traits, which is kind of like religion. And other things that we do that are culturally scientific.
Like you don't walk down the streets nude? Although I guess that's illegal here, but it would also be frowned upon if it
I wanted to touch on that. If everyone was nude, how would people react to it? How would you react to it?
It wouldn't be as sexy, I'll tell you that. I deal with more older, 40 and older crowd, male, so those really wouldn't delight my feathers. I don't know.
I feel like, who do you think was the first person said like we have to cover up? Do you think it was a woman or a man? Probably a woman.
I think it was people in the cold.
the Northerners, they show up with clothing, and all the guys there are just like, whoa, that's different.
Wow. I guess it's also a protection thing. I mean, think about that. I think flopping around in the breeze, you gotta, just both of them.
So you're saying it's probably men? You kind of,
I think so.
Loincloth?
Yeah. I think it's dudes. Dudes be getting clothes first. Good job, dudes. Look what you did.
Now, do you think if you were around a mix of people, if it was young to old and attractive women in your age range, do you think you'd be more aroused by them, equally aroused, or less aroused because they're desensitized to it?
Less aroused. I think it would get dull pretty fast. I think that's why. Is there like clothes fetishes? I know a previous episode may have touched on something of the likes.
I watch all my porn in reverse. They put their clothes back on.
Yeah. Ooh, it's nipply. Get a cardigan on there. Put on that cardigan.
Oh, you're gonna go outside? Get in your car.
Button up.
Oh,
Button up.
Turn on the heat. Get that radiator kicking.
Up the windows.
Or you're gonna cover that car in ice?
You watch a pornography where the car is covered in ice and they have to come out and de-ice it
with someone else's body. It's like windshield.
Yep. Throw them on there. Human heat.
So back to civilization. So how did it all start?
It all? I don't know. What was the first civilization? You got a number? You got a name? You got anybody? Gilgamesh?
How about the cradle of civilization? So way back when, there were multiple starts of civilization, but most people point to Mesopotamia, which happened around 10,000 BC. In between
I didn't have that year.
Euphrates and the Tigris River. And there's a reason that it happened too. So they were
Fertile Crescent?
Yeah, they were in an area that could bring silt to them. So the silt would then replenish all of the crops, all the nutrients in the soil, so they could stay in one spot and keep farming it. Otherwise, they'd be forced
delicious silt.
Yeah,
they'd be delicious silt.
delicious. They'd be able to
Get that in a glass of water.
sedentism. So they could
stay put right there.
Yeah, they can stay put. Otherwise, you're a hunter-gatherer or you're an agrarian that moves around. So you just keep
like
floating
a nomad.
around. Yeah, exactly.
No one wants to be a nomad. You can't decorate a nomad home. You know?
It's true. You got to pack it up, move it out.
And women be shopping. All right, folks?
So most of the people were in this area. It's pretty fertile. No one's really getting attacked or anything. They're all kind of open.
It's nice.
Yeah, you don't have to be centralized when it's like utopia, like a food utopia.
Everybody's throwing in their pie. Everybody's taking out their pie. You know, it's a pie fest.
So there's a start of civilization there, and they start maybe forming like a government. They start forming a language. Say that cuneiform. Have you heard of cuneiform? Cuneiform script. It was invented by the Sumerians. Yeah, it was the first language. It kind of looks like someone took their nail and started making like imprints and then lines and then a whole bunch of like arrows, like a whole bunch of arrows.
Yeah, okay. I've seen that. I know what you're talking about. A lot of arrows and triangles and pointing it up and pointing down, and pointing left and pointing up and a squiggle here. I got you.
Yeah, so people are starting to associate cuneiform script.
Pretty badass.
Script. Yeah, it looks cool, and I'm surprised that it's still around today. So these people,
they use, like, I was going to say, did they etch it on stone yet, or is that not happening yet?
Yeah, they have it inscribed in stone.
I wasn't sure. Good on them, dude.
Yeah.
I like them. I like them more and more. Everything I hear about them is thumbs up from the UnPanders.
The Sumerians?
Yeah.
Good job, Sumerians. Clay tablets, that's what they used.
Clay, okay. That's pretty cool.
And a blunt reed for a stylus. They actually had pen and paper of their own version.
Most societies do, I find, because writing is the ultimate passing of knowledge. Can you have civilization without writing? Without language? How about that?
I don't think you can. You need literacy.
Nope. I did the math, folks. I took English as a major, and I came to the conclusion language is important. It's the most important thing. And if you major in it in college, you're smarter than everyone. Good on you.
But not by much.
Really good on you. Just a little bit smarter than everybody. Your paycheck will not reflect it, but in here, you'll feel it.
So one of the other things I found was so this is a cradle of civilization. The cradle of humankind. You know where that is?
No, I was just Mesopotamia, and so I got Fertile Crescent.
It's actually in Africa.
Is that where did they say the world was slightly different then, or not really?
What do you mean by slightly different?
10,000 BC, so we're talking 12,000 years ago. I guess that wasn't enough time for a geological difference. Like certain rivers were different, certain.
Yeah, I don't think that's long enough for a river to change entirely. It is for slight shifts, but I doubt it's more than like a foot or like 2 feet.
Okay, that's important to me.
So everything is where it's supposed to be.
Okay, and they climbed. We assume they migrated towards Africa. What part of Africa would you say?
So
northeast.
The cradle of humankind is actually from Africa. So they believe that it began in near Johannesburg, a little bit north of there, and they found a skull of an ape, an ape humanoid.
Australopithecine or something.
So they called them.
There were different Neanderthals. Neanderthal, not thal.
Yeah, this
one's those in the know.
Hominin.
Yeah, hominin. Do you know which one? Did it say?
Mrs. Pless, which is short for something ridiculously long.
Okay. Either way, they had there were several different competing hominids for who's going to be the top dog. There were like the Neanderthals and the hominids, I believe, and they branched off and they lived together in the same time. And I believe all the Neanderthals died. They were the ones with the big skulls that you see that everyone says look like cavemen. And the hominids looked a little more like between apes and humans.
Yeah, they have a wider, I guess, what would you call eye socket? Yeah, their cheekbones would flare out a little bit. So they're not. You look at them, it's definitely not human, but it's kind of close.
But I believe, I forget the one they said that was closest to human. It may have led to Homo sapien.
Yeah, that's what they believe, that the humankind Mrs. Plus. She was around the bottom area of Africa and then migrated up to Mesopotamia, and then Mesopotamia kind of flourished all these tiny little hunter-gatherers / chiefdoms, and then moved into civilization. And then
so people were nomads up till this point, and then they can finally settle. Maybe.
Yeah, they can settle because of the rivers, because of the silt. And
Beautiful silt. We love silt here. We just friggin' love it.
Yeah. So the key here is that people are all kind of like protecting themselves. They keep to themselves until what is known as a kilo year event. So
1,000-year event?
Yeah. So every 1,000 years, there's actually a change in global temperatures, global warming. Except these temperatures got global warming.
I've heard of that. That's crazy.
Huh? Do you believe in global warming?
No, I'm a scientist.
I am a scientist too. I don't know why anyone would ever believe in not believing in it. What the hell's wrong with you?
I don't know. Listen, there are people who really think the Earth is like 1,400 years old and was made by God in like a night and a day or whatever. Our podcast probably isn't for them.
Hopefully not.
Actually, do you imagine if they were watching up to this point and they were like, "This is the best darn podcast I've seen in so many." What in tarnation? Lucille, turn this off. We are going back home. Tell Jebediah to go to bed. Right.
You just offended everybody in the South.
Some.
So these kiloyear events are actually cooling periods that made it so moisture in the air did not produce rain. One of the words I found out was pluvial. Pluvial stands for rain. There's like a Neolithic Subpluvial. Scientist. I'm a scientist. Subpluvial. So it's a lack of rain. So everyone who was farming on the outskirts of where they could farm, and with a lack of rain, they were forced inward. And then people start battling. The river. They start fighting for food. They start centralizing. They start abandoning the fringes, and they start to form societies in these walled-off areas.
Resources drive people.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a theme that's going to come up again.
Yeah, it's a kiloyear event. So that happened about 8.2 kiloyears ago.
So have we had 8.2 of them since then?
It's strange. It has like slight ones. It has small ones.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find that. They call them Holocene temperature variations, and there have been a few.
Something extremely dangerous.
We're dropping that ice cube. You can get that ice cube in there. You gotta suck it out.
Hold on.
You got a straw? Where's your straws?
I threw all my straws in the trash when I heard that they're bad for the environment. We're gonna ban them.
I threw them
all in there at once. I went right to the river and I just threw them in the river.
The ocean will take care of it.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I don't want plastics in my trash. It's going to end up hurting an animal. So I threw them right into the ocean and the river. Cut out the middleman, folks.
And you probably don't live near a river, so you're okay. You'll never see the damage that you've done, which is fine.
Yeah. I had to drive pretty far to throw these in the river. But I did it.
You also changed your oil while you're there. Dump that in there.
I bought a couple 6-packs. You just throw the rings in the water.
Yeah. I hear if you give them to turtles, the turtles will carry them away to a safe recycling place area.
Oh, yeah. They were like good collars for turtles. I gave them to 6 turtles at once.
So these 1,000-year events, they happen every 1,000 years. And there's been a bunch of them, but not very major. And I think as a global society, we've figured out how to avoid most of them. And we're actually not in a hot area. So it's increasing in warmth now, but it's not considered hot because the temperature anomaly.
It was like 98 today.
It's pretty hot, but
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Not figuratively. Literally, figuratively. And not weather, climate.
It's nice. Nice breather here.
Kombucha hitting you good, dude.
Yeah.
Letting you get all into that.
Kumbaya.
In your guts. Yeah, kumbaya.
So what you really have is all these like nomadic tribes starting to attack because they have no food. They get centralized. They get controlled.
Work together.
Centralized. A nice civilized civilization type of thing.
Is this where Obama's from?
I think that was forged.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so.
There's something else I want to talk about with bond events. With bond events, they are also like kill your events, but they're more damaging. I think it was kind of leading into like
interesting that you're talking about these things. It's like, eventually we're due for natural disasters occur every X amount of years, and volcanic eruptions are every X amount of years, and mega volcanic eruptions and climate events are every X 1,000 years.
So one of the major climate events that happened this recently within the past few years is like I think the Syrian farmers, they didn't have enough water. It forced them into the cities, and then the government couldn't take care of them because they didn't have enough food. And then the birth of ISIS happened. So people were trying to defend themselves from not having enough food. And then all the refugees from the Middle East, the Syrian areas, they started pushing themselves into Europe because Europe had food. Someone says that the main cause of the downfall of Syria is weather. Dangerous, scary weather.
I mean, it sounds stupid, but what are you going to do if you can't grow crops, if you can't eat?
Yeah, how boring is the end of the earth? You just starve to death. You don't have any food. Seems stupid.
We'll start fighting for fertile land, fighting for food, fighting for things that don't expire in 5 days. You imagine if you get you're fighting for the best turnip land in America, and you got some fresh turnips. You're fighting. Fighting goes on for days and days and weeks. And you've got all the turnips to yourself, but they've all turned. Wow,
they've all rotted away. That's why I'm gonna grow ginger and beets. That's the only thing. It's gonna form delicious gut shot.
Do beets last? I know ginger does.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what lasts long.
Sorry.
So this is another thing about society is that we have stratification. So we're complete honey. Honey's the way to go. Too bad we've killed all the bees.
Oh, god damn. They don't like cell phones.
Yeah.
That's on them.
So that's another thing is the social stratification is you're separating yourself from your other jobs. You're not a full person. You're living off of other people. So in our society, where did your drink come from? Yeah. Where did your drink come from?
I didn't farm it. Where did my food come from? I didn't farm it. Where did my car come from? I didn't farm it. I know we're noticing a pattern. I don't grow the cars on the trees or wherever they come from. I don't grow kombucha wherever that comes from. I don't grow my booze. It just appears at my house sometimes.
Yeah, you do a job that other people pay you for, and then you use that money to buy stuff, and almost none of it is anything you know about. So this is civilization for me. Is that I could go on Amazon, I could use my hard-earned money to buy, let's say, a box of extra large dildos and just ship them to Nick's house. I don't even have to do any of it. They just show up, and then Nick has a giant pack of,
Folks, when they show up at your house, what are you going to do with them? Okay? Yeah. Before you judge, what are you going to do with them? And the answer was easy. No. I gave it to an orphanage. I mean, those kids need stuff.
They're candles. You can light them on fire.
Yes, you can. I can turn them into toys and repurpose them. Silicone makes a great
Stretch Armstrong.
Toy. Stretch Armstrong's made of dildos. I don't know if anyone ever played with a Stretch Armstrong as a kid. It's half a dildo. It was a dildo over surplus from 1999, I think it was.
Melt them down.
They had to repurpose them all and made some kind of doll. Well, there you go. Stretch Armstrong. Little did you know while you were pulling that little fist, what you were doing.
Virgin rubber.
Virgin rubber. Some of it was used. Used rubber.
I'm just stop doing the hand motions. They can't see that on the podcast.
I threw myself off. I threw myself off. Can I do a quick break it down?
Sure.
A smirk,
Hit
smirk, and a smile.
Get it.
All right, real quick. I had a 2-door Jeep before my son was born. I loved it. I used to take the top off, roll the soft top back, take a door off. Who the hell knows? Let it rain in that. Let it rain in that bad boy. Have a good time. So I became an adult. He became 1.5, 2, whatever the heck he was. It was too heavy. It's real tough to work in a 2-door Jeep. So I traded it in and got an adult vehicle, a 4-door Jeep. Well, once I had the 4-door Jeep, he's like, he doesn't like wind. He doesn't like the air. He doesn't like too much breeze. The girlfriend doesn't like wind. Nobody likes wind. Apparently, I'm the only one who doesn't use air conditioning. I just love wind. Love it. Guess what?
Kind of trade in your car.
Last week. No. Last week, I took out the things that hold your door on. So you can steal my door, anyone, driver's side. And I take the door off. I've taken it off like 3-4 times now in the past 2 weeks. I just leave it off for like days at a time. I take the top panels off. I've been flying again free, and it's so cool. You put your like left leg outside the vehicle like this. I don't know if you can see, folks.
He's got it up above the mic. It's as far as he's using his hand to pull back his arm muscles because he can't.
Yeah, I'm getting old.
He's gonna break something.
Whew. But anyway, I let these old balls feel some wind, some breeze. You're doing 35 mile an hour, and you can just feel it just whipping around you. You turn up your volumes in the car. My kid can finally enjoy it. He's like laughing. He loves the air. Window. I open the back window. Just windows everywhere. Just fresh air. I love it. I haven't been able to do it in like over a year, 2 years. It's like wasting a Jeep. I feel good. Doors off. Take all 4 doors off. I might as well.
Aren't you glad the proletariat allowed you to do that?
I was actually more glad that the climate allowed me to do that. The arid, no moisture climate.
No. Wonder how the farmers feel.
They were the ones that helped me do it.
So what was your smirk and smile?
Oh, that and I got back into metal again. I've been listening more metal. I don't know if I'm revisiting my.
You got away from metal?
Yeah, it's hard to listen to metal when you're with a kid, your girlfriend, people. You're in public all the time. Like, do I really want to listen to Swedish death metal from 1996? Guess what, folks? I've been rocking In Flames, The Jester's Race, released in 1996, for like the past 2 days. Great. Amazing. I listened to it today biking. That's why my hair looks like this. Just that's breeze hitting my hair, man. That's breeze, baby.
Life.
That's no product. That's breeze. That's air.
It's invigoration right there. Derek Zoolander.
Zoolander. So anyway, that's my smile, man. Listen to some metal, some harmonious solos going on, Swedish. It's just good. Fresh air. I like it. That's where I'm at. I'm sorry.
Make me want to listen to music.
Doesn't it? No. Old music. Why not? Give it a shot. I got a word of the day too, if you want it.
Sure. What do you got?
Impertible. Yeah.
Like pert plus? Impert, like you can't be perty?
Close. Incapable of being lost.
Huh.
Like I think a mountain is impertible.
I think all men are impertible.
Orange. I think
that's what most women would probably disagree with.
I would say a 4-door orange Jeep is impertible. It's hard to lose that.
Have you ever really taken that off road? Are you fearful putting it through a lake or river? I mean, not a lake.
No, I've never done that. No. Like, I mean,
don't you think about it though? You see a small stream, you're just like,
It's so tempting, but can you imagine being the jackass who gets stuck? You know what I mean? They have trails in New Jersey. They do it once a year. It's called like the Jeep who knows what, and everybody who has a Jeep meets, and you all go in a line like a bunch of losers, and still want to do it. And they go over like trails and like off road. There's like a path that's kind of like been tested that even stock Jeep morons should be able to handle it. And if not, there's like 40 other Jeeps with you that can just winch you out.
And you've never done it before?
Nah, I'm scared because I'm gonna look like an idiot, a rookie, you know. I want to go when I'm a professional. And how do I become a professional? I have no idea, but I just want to show up and be like with a toothpick in and be like, "We got another GP stuck," and then throw my toothpick and be like, "I bet he's all stock." Like, you know what I mean? Oh, look at Mr. Green Jeep. He's got a snorkel in that bad boy. Oh,
you don't want to feel inferior?
No, not at all. It'd be embarrassing. I'd be like, my Dana Axle, my Dana 34 Axle, Dana 44 Axle, whatever it is.
All that is very materialistic.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were a nomadic person, would you be able to accrue all these materialistic things?
None of it. But I would be going off-roading with my feet on the daily, my friend.
Be hunting the
with
caribou.
A little bit of wind in my hair, hunting some caribou. Okay.
How would you feel if you were moving all the time? If you literally had to move every year to a new place, every 2 years,
and not bring something, or only bring 3 things, or like, how's it work?
If you're moving with your hands, and maybe you have one vehicle.
Okay.
You have no one else to rely on.
Goodbye podcast.
Yeah.
I guess I would just bring a musical instrument and whatever music I could, and just hope for the best. Weird, I said music twice without realizing
it. Is that a reflection? You're sitting looking at your drums.
I guess I'm bad at drums, but I can play them a little bit. I don't know. Here's a question for you. Mm-hmm. Scenario. Let's say the great country of America, the United States, is failing. It's failing fast. There's going to be a crash of the market. It's going to drop to absolute zero, bedlam, anarchy. Shit's just going to go wild. You want to go and leave to go to whatever country you want. I'm not going to say Canada because I know your blood. Mm-hmm. Canada, Europe, somewhere.
Calls like the Jumanji drum. So I get to go to any country I want?
Sure, you really can, but here's the catch. Only your wife and your kids going with you. Do you make the move?
Probably not. I mean,
really? It's weird because I feel like just you guys moved away from the East Coast, right?
So
what's?
Yeah, I guess I could move. I could move towards somebody else. Move towards your parents. The scary thing is,
no. I mean, out of the United States, though.
I'm forced to move out of the United States?
Yeah, if the United States is failing, I'm saying. You can't just leave your state. I'm saying you have to leave the United States. Would you do it, or would you kind of just hang and just hope you don't get screwed with everyone else?
I would probably hang. But one of the people that I listened to today was Brian Ward Perkins. He was talking about the fall of Rome.
Were we listening to him today?
He was doing a lecture. I was listening to my office.
TED Talk?
No, it wasn't a TED Talk. It was somewhere in a university. He was talking about how when Rome fell, like, not only did they fall like back into an age.
Rome was the biggest at the time, right?
Around 400 AD, they completely fell apart.
I got a little bit into this, but I didn't read the whole thing. So can you break it down? How what triggered ultimately the downfall of Rome?
So I would say there's 2 things.
The biggest civilization.
2 things is that they had Germanic tribes and barbarian attacks that attacked their fringes, and they weren't able to defend themselves.
They weren't able to defend the fringes. Sure.
Yeah, but towards the end. Most of the time they had military prowess though, so they were able to protect it until the end. And the other thing that caused it was imperialism. They kept growing. They got a little too large. And there's actually a third thing. Is they used slave power to fuel their empire. And once they stopped expanding, they stopped gaining new slaves. They couldn't drive the proletariat, the labor force. They couldn't use them to build their empire anymore. So they kind of imploded levels, and then people who were upper echelon didn't want to shift down to be a labor force. So they,
I don't think so.
So they couldn't do anything about it.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah, and they say when it fell apart, it was they had indoor plumbing when Rome was at its finest, and indoor plumbing didn't return until 1,000 years later.
That's insane.
That was
But I guess
worse.
everything fell with them, and nobody was digging through the remains to find the good stuff. They were just trying to survive.
Just trying to find food because I had no one to give it to
Yeah,
them.
that is wild. So a bunch of other civilizations fall. I don't want to get into falling and failing civilizations too early, but usually it's called societal collapse. And society, as we have just discussed, is a complex system. That sounds like a stupid term, but it's actually a one-word thing: complex dash system. And it refers to things that are so multifaceted and layered that you have to study all parts of it to understand it. Like the weather, you can't just say a front is moving west to east in the United States. You have to know wind currents, low pressures, high pressures, landforms, masses,
Jet stream,
wind,
swirl,
wind,
hurricanes.
jet stream, moisture in the air. It's incredibly complex. That's why to this day weather systems are like what 30% effective, like accurate. I mean,
Yeah, they
they're
always tell
eighty
me it's
percent
going to
accurate in
rain and be
generalities,
thunderstorms,
but
but they
but
don't
they
know.
don't know what time. They don't know how heavy. They don't know how long. It's just usually a guesstimate.
Mm-hmm.
People always making fun of that, but it's incredibly complex. That's how society is. That's how the human brain is. There's a lot of things like that. But what's interesting about societal collapse is that they always say it's, I was going to say dedicated, predicated on one of three things: economic, environmental, or social and cultural collapse. These can be brought about by a hell of a lot of ways.
So Jane Jacobs brings up like the 5 pillars, and she
Okay.
says that the U.S. is in its decline because of these 5 pillars.
Ooh,
It's
come on, Gene. Jane. What does she
Jane
know?
Jacobs. Lack of focus on the community and family, higher
No,
education.
they're not. Check out the Republicans of today. They are actually caring for a lot of families. They're putting them in detention centers or whatever. That's taking care of
Separating
them.
them so that they get good upbringing
I think,
apart.
right. ICE, we're big proponents of ICE. We could care less. If you work for ICE, you can die in a fire. That's a direct quote.
From somebody else, not us. So community and family, we're pro. Big pro.
We are. ICE isn't.
Higher education. I mean, do you think people are focusing on being smart these days? I don't.
That's you know what's wild. You say that. I recently, because of us talking and an episode we did on education system and everything, it's going to price itself out so that people don't care and don't want to get
privately educated
college degree
or college
why the hell
educated.
would you? What's it worth?
Yeah, we're at a turning point.
$80,000.
I mean, I feel that. I feel that every day. Where it doesn't equate to being logical.
No, it doesn't.
A lack of focus on science, climate change, global warming.
I will say the 2% that don't believe in it that also run our country might be onto something.
Yeah, it's not the global warming that'll get us. It's the global cooling, because the kiloyear events and the bond events are cooling events.
Ice ages.
Yeah,
almost.
And then taxes and government get out of line. They say it's part of.
Not true. Now that we have Republicans back in.
Yeah, everyone just invest in the stock market. We're good. We're covered.
We're good. We're covered.
They said that there's a curve. So there's like when you're becoming a civilized country, an industrialized country. I think people are trying to follow the curve. They're trying to meet the curve because the wealth per person is so high that they're pumping out kids like crazy. And then they keep pumping out kids until it kind of levels off. But people's memories, they only last their entire generation. Some of these curves last for hundreds of years. So like a country finally like levels off, but everyone says, well, in the past, in my entire life, this country is great.
Everyone has 8 kids.
Yeah, everyone's doing fantastic. So we're gonna keep doing well because that's what I've experienced my whole life. No one in the country has lived longer than 100 years to say, no, this is part of a normal curve that will correct itself. So people stop having kids. There are fewer people to fuel the economy, the labor force, the proletariat, and then things start to collapse because you can't support the people that are older than you and in a higher rank than you. And why even try if you can't make as much money as they have already made?
This is very interesting talk. What I will do is I'll bring it back around. Let's go back in time. 1520s. Actually, let's go back even further. 1930s. That's not further back in time.
Talk about.
I think I wrote that backwards.
Crash in the stock
when was
market.
the Black Death? No,
That could have been 1390s. Yeah, I think you did.
Okay, I probably wrote
dyslexia.
backwards. I don't know how the hell I did that. Yeah,
I will look that up.
I was dyslexia it. Please do. Hold on. I was gonna do this on camera, then I wasn't. I'm gonna do a transfer. This is the most complicated part of my night. Has nothing to do with the podcast. Nothing to do with dealing with unpander Dan. This is just
1347 to 1351. While you're doing the transfer of liquids, I will note that there's a fifth pillar. It's the self-regulation of professions. Like our government, you would think that the president could self-regulate.
Sorry.
That's okay. You would think that people could self-regulate and they wouldn't try to be in a monopoly, like net neutrality, and all those people trying to take over communications, utilities, all sorts of crazy stuff to try to, take over and be the ultimate power, capitalistic, without regulation or control.
Interesting. So, we're kind of talking about how society fails and how America almost looks like it's like peaked.
Yeah.
I will say patriotism has peaked. Would you say that? I mean,
I would say the partisan level. The level of partisan is huge. But like, there's patriots. I think we're all passionate about our country, but now we're seeing all sides of our country, and people are speaking out, and you can see what they say in writing everywhere on the internet.
Do you think the internet is bringing that about? Then maybe the internet lets us see all sides of a thing which weren't available before. Before it was only news, which happens once a day and is collected by the news writers, and that's it. It's just the news writers give you your news. Wait till tomorrow, and you'll read about it. And boom.
So this moves into democratic countries. Like if you were to be fully controlled by the Democratic Party, not necessarily the United States Democratic Party, but the Democratic people.
The rule by the people.
Yeah. So the people who are on the lowest rung would want more welfare. They'd want more
money.
Yeah.
Power.
They're looking for social mobility, but overall they're looking for comfortable living.
Sure.
So the internet might actually bring forth an area of social reform where we understand that people need help, but people also manipulate. So I don't know where you draw your line and how you trust and distrust, especially things on the internet which are controlled by Russian bots or echo chambers. I will
say I agree with you 100%. You touched on something interesting. I'm coming back to echo chamber. You touched on something interesting where, of course, people lower economic rungs, people with less power want more power. They want more money. Mm-hmm. The only thing I will say that points me in one direction is that the last time people in the top 1% have owned as much as they have is like during kings and queens and monarchy. So that
Bezos, Elon
society. Musk. Very much. I actually wrote my man's name down.
Bill Gates?
No, Elon Musk. In something that burns deep in our hearts, in our souls, something that we talk about off camera all the time. People don't realize this is our passion. Mm-hmm. That thing that beats in our chest.
So Celebrity Challenge.
Celebrity Challenge. Oh my God.
We haven't had the Celebrity Challenge in so long.
We haven't had one in so long because I've been waiting for this
Musk.
Elon Musk. I want the moose. I'm down here. And I want Mark McGrath. Okay?
Mark McGrath?
Every morning there's a halo hanging from the corner of my room. No one knows the words. Just gonna mumble that part. But I want them both to get in one room, right? They're both pretty good looking guys. One's got a lot of money. One's got a lot of songs. We get them together. We set up those old fashioned kissing booths. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it's like kiss for charity. We're going to do a kiss for charity.
High traffic area.
Yep. And I want them to be on the streets. And I want them in a kissing booth. Whoever gets the most wins. Charity event. It's only 2 hours long. We'll cut off the time. It's going to be not for people, though. For sick seals. poor little pups were barking. Arr, arr, arr. You know, they do this. Beautiful little creatures. And I think seals are underplayed. Not a lot of people care for them, talk about them. I want to see who can kiss the most sick seals.
What
which
kind of
is
sick?
crazy because I mean, they got a little cough, a little bark. Nothing too crazy. A little phlegm around the nose, but I think you just kiss him on the nose. Boom. I want Elon to plant a little one on those little whiskers. It would warm my heart. It would be good pub for him because lately he's going to be getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Mark McGrath hasn't made a new song recently, so maybe he can. Every morning he wakes up, he can see a seal. I don't know. We'll see where that one goes.
He could draw on his experiences to make new lyrics.
I don't know. It could work. And I did want to say it's interesting that this is all happening because it leads to today's tongue twister too, which we haven't done today.
Huh.
7 6 seals. Try it.
7 6 seals. 7 6 seals. 7 6 seals. You need to add an extra
Just
word.
do it 3 times. No, dude. I think you just did it 3 times. Do like 4 and do them fast. I want to see what happens. I think this is going to work.
4 times?
Yeah, 4 times. That's just 4 times.
7 6 seals. 7 6 seals. 7 6 seals. 7 6 seals.
It worked.
What, like Sally slaps her 7 6 seals? Sally slaps her 7 6 seals. Sally slaps her 7 6 seals. I just slowed down on that one.
You did, and you kind of slallied her.
Slalom.
It's something to think about.
You hit on those good ones.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
I hope both of them want to do that for charity.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think it's an honest challenge. You're allowed to kiss the same seal twice.
Different seal every time. It's a 6 seal. They have to do it. It's like a charity thing. Maybe they go to maybe we had the vets come in and bring in their 6 seals. All right. So back to the downfall of society.
Yeah, how long do you think it takes for the U.S. to fall?
2030.
A lot of people said the end of the world, the catastrophic event, was going to happen in 2200.
Oh,
less than a couple of years. Yeah, so we're good.
It's not my problem. It's not my problem.
I think 19%. It might have been 2100 though. I forget the exact number. But the catastrophic event is close.
I got a couple scientists for you. Malthus. Everyone knows Malthus from his population theory. He proponents that a population will grow as only so far and so fast as its food and resources will allow them.
Until they overexploit?
A little bit. But naturally then, if you overexploit or overuse all your food, or you're literally using all the food you have, you
or your oil's gone.
Reproducing.
Yep.
Or oil. I'm sorry. Okay. You hit a point where you slow down production of your people. Like, you can't support that many people. People will die. People will not be born. Fertility rates will go down.
There'll be unrest.
He called it a demographic transition, which is where we actually see this in most industrialized civilizations.
Like Japan has that issue, right? Where Japan is mostly older.
Even the United States. I'm not talking about that. It's your birth rates just go lower and lower. And lower.
It's like 2.3.
I think it's lower than that at that point. And also an increase in urbanization. Most people move into the cities.
And that was 2.3 births per family.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That makes sense. But
slow growth as opposed to massive explosion.
Right. Which makes sense. I would imagine it does. It also tied in with the old Duvay theory.
Duvay.
I hope I'm saying his name right. If I'm not, he could sue me. He's dead. His kids can try and sue me. He can try. Good luck. He claimed that every civilization has a roughly 100-year window as far as energy is concerned. But that's the craziest thing I ever heard. Except that he said, hold on, he says it has very much to do with energy availability and consumption. So he said our big boom came in 1930. I didn't read his whole paper, so I don't know what happened in 1930. But he predicts that by 2030, the end of our industrial phase will begin, and we will. So you have pre-industry phase, industrial phase, which is 1930 to 2030, and then de-industrialization, where all our means are so far advanced and require so much fuel and so much energy that we actually can't utilize them. Like we have super cool space things, maybe blockchain. I don't know.
Blockchain inherits the earth.
Stuff that's so cool, but we don't have the fuel to run it. All this crazy cool technology and advanced stuff and stuff that can practically go to the moon and the stars, but we don't have any fuel for it.
Was
So
this how? When was the last time? Was this guy still alive? He's dead, right?
I think he's dead.
When
This
did
is
he
an
die?
older theory. I don't know, man. Google, my man. It's old Dubai.
Like before nuclear power or solar power or.
Right. I mean, he's on the assumption that we won't find another energy, but he also says this happens often. So I think 30, 50 years after 2030, we can find a new energy source and start the cycle again.
It's like one of the things that like China is trying to take over the world. They're trying to extract resources from everywhere.
Good luck.
That Amazonian trail is becoming a road so that they can take all the lumber out of it. Imagine like all these other countries that are underdeveloped, that are still civilized, but they don't have, they can't pay for oil, and they might be using trees to make fuel. Those countries will never be industrialized. They'll never get there.
Interesting you said that, too. I wish I had it written down. I read that. There's 3 kinds of societies that fail. One's a dinosaur society. It's too slow and big for its own good.
Okay.
I can't give you an example because this is the end of my research. 2 was a runaway train society, which burns through resources so fast that it doesn't have time to replenish, and eventually will run out and just be like, oops. And the 3rd is called a House of Cards society. It gets too big too fast without steady infrastructure. And eventually it becomes top heavy, almost like you mentioned with the proletariat don't want to be a working class anymore. So now what do? You're like, oops.
So there's 2 things that made me think of. So there's only 2 civilizations that have really made it since our knowledge. China.
Sure.
They've been around for a long, long time. And then the Brahmin Hindu society, which is like an Indian society. They've been around for a long, long time. Because I guess they've had fertility and their countries are large enough. And they're all kind of not of the same mind, but similar enough that they can, be flexible in geological changes and weather patterns. The other thing it reminded me of was exactly what you said about the proletariat. There's this one picture of a pyramid of capitalist system. So you have a whole bunch of people on the bottom that says we work for all and we feed all. And this is a pyramid. And then there's a layer above that that's we eat for you. So those are all the people that are living off of the other work of others. And then above that is the military. So we shoot at you. So they keep them in check. And they have religious people up above them, which says, well, I don't know if I agree with this, but we fool you.
Okay. It could lead them in a direction. I can see that.
It rhymes with the next one, which is political, which is we rule you. And then they have capitalism at the top. So this is
of course, the 1% that pull the strings on the politicians and make the rules for all the other groups.
The 1911 Industrial Worker publication.
Holy crap! That's from 1911. It's a little funny that they may not be 100% right, but are pretty damn close. So, not to wrap it up, but as far as didn't want to get too in detail with things. Oh, cool!
You find
I started watching. No. I just realized what I started watching. The ladies of the house wanted to watch something called The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, I've heard about this with Dick Draper's lackey.
Yes. So, I thought it was like takes place in the 1620s or whatever. She looks like a pilgrim. She has the red hood and you have the neck thing, the white.
Is this an
thing.
M. Night Shyamalan movie?
No, but hold on. It's interesting you say that because it is. I didn't think I would be interested. This takes place in a not too distant future where fertility in the women folk and the men, I believe, drops to like 10% of all women can even have babies anymore. And no one's sure why. Scientists can't figure it out. Sounds like Children of Men. Have you seen that one?
Yep, I've seen that one where the baby's crying and there's a war zone and everyone stops while the bullets are at a halt.
But what's crazy, same idea in that, only women stop being fertile, right? Or is it men? I don't know if it's important.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if it was important. But anyway, women lose fertility So they actually outlaw them from the workplace. They outlaw them from having their own rights. They outlaw them from everything. They're like harboring a slave. Like you have to have one, but they better be under watch. And eventually they start rounding them up, not letting them leave the country, not letting them go to work, not letting them leave their house.
Because they're
And
fertile?
then they're not sure yet. And then when they can get them all, they separate them from their husbands, their families, like these mandatory checks. It's like martial law everywhere, men with guns in your streets and everything. And they're like, hey, stay at home, everything's fine, stay at home. Finally, they get these women. They want to find out which ones are fertile, because this is important for survival of the species. I mean, you need to know, and they're not going to willingly go, so you impose martial law. You kind of outlaw everyone leaving, moving around, women in the workplace, no more. And finally, they take the women from everyone. They bring them all in one place, and there's like all this trauma going on. Lots of military people are raping women, stuff's going on. They're trying to figure out which ones are fertile, which ones are not.
Can they just pee in a cup?
Listen, no one knows why it's happening. I don't know how you can tell. And military people are apt to rape, I believe. It's like a thing they do. Anyway.
But might be true. Maybe true.
Might be true. Might be true, but it's a joke. So then anyone that they find out is fertile becomes like a handmaid, and they have to wear red, and they're sold to rich people who want to have children.
Wow.
So the rich people will buy a red handmaid or whatever and keep them in their house. And once every 30 days, right when her ovulation period is highest, the husband will have sex with her while the wife holds her down. It's like they pretend it's like a religious thing. And he like essentially rapes her. And then if she becomes pregnant, she has your baby. She's like a surrogate, unwilling, but they paid for it. And it's like this crazy thing. And that's kind of a little bit like children of men. Like, what if fertility becomes the ultimate
downfall of civilization?
You would think it was worth so much, but they become worthless. Like they become vessels for the baby, and they're poor. So it's just nuts. And I was like, whew, this is dark.
Not what I thought it was about. And it sounds more like
that's
a
what
plutocracy.
I didn't think so. I thought, right. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, the society that's ruled and controlled by people of great wealth or income.
Anyway, if I was wrong, I saw episodes 3, 4, and 5. I didn't see part of 2. And we watched some of 6 last night or something. I don't know, it was tough to keep track of because I don't see the whole thing. I'm in and out.
I might actually watch that now that you've described it. You should do advertising, because I had no idea that's what that was about.
Neither. It looks like it. It's a movie based in the 1640s, and it's stupid, and it's about pilgrims or something. Yeah. But no, it's the future. It just looks old school because that's the way they control people. It's interesting.
Anti-egalitarianism.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm just saying, a little bit when you say a term I don't really 100% know the definition of, like egalitarianism.
It's equality for all. So like everyone's equal, they have equal rights. Definitely the opposite of that.
Last I came up with, which I thought was interesting, was Tony B's theory of decay.
Cardi B's?
Tony B.
Okay.
So this guy, Tony B, I didn't get his first name. He's the man because he says some societies become so good at problem solving, like good at it. Like I feel like America's good at solving problems.
Yeah.
Has been good at it. They're so good at solving old problems that they stop solving new problems and get more and more refined at solving the same old problem.
I heard about this.
Isn't that crazy? Like they get better and better at fixing the roads. They make better plastics. They're really good at solving all these problems that would have plagued people in the 1700s and 1800s. They're like pros. They're like this. Check this. Yo, I got to solve for this. But they don't know how to solve any new problems. And the people they put in place are experts at solving the old problems.
It's like an intellectual distraction.
A little bit, yeah.
They get fixated on stuff that doesn't matter anymore.
Right. Like, can you imagine if you were the best at sewage pipes and you spent 90% of your money on sewage pipes, or, I don't know, the military or something ridiculous like that? Like $2.2 billion on the military. When really there are no more, direct hand-to-hand wars anymore. And you could spend that money on other things. That would be crazy, is all I'm saying.
But one of the things we didn't touch on is where our societies are going. So there's like 6 or 7 different civilizations that are existing right now. And those are getting more and more, I guess, cross-weaved, so they're getting touchier. The borders are being erased, and they're starting to they're starting to migrate. They're starting to talk. They're starting to influence each other. That's one of the things, is that you have countries that are side by side that might hate each other, and if you're not solving the problems that are on the forefront, the military problems, if you come up with something new that can destroy your enemy, maybe use it on them, and then you become more of a global society. So when do you think the civilization will become a global civilization?
So you see this term right here that I circled.
Echo chamber. We're going to go back to echo chambers.
What I wrote down, and I did not read about this, but you're touching on it, and we touched on echo chamber earlier. The internet allows us to communicate, see, and
from
feel
1,400 miles away,
from everywhere, from different walks of life. I see what people in Egypt are dealing with when they deal with their government, which is not my government and not my past, not my ecology. It's just entirely foreign, but I feel them if I want to. I can see kids getting blown up in Syria, which is kind of disgusting, but it's online. You can find it in like 10 seconds. I can see what's happening in Rwanda and places like that. I actually can't see a lot in China. I will say that, but you could see some. I can see stuff from all over the world. And if I want to plug myself into that, it's not that hard. And what's interesting is there's a human element. There's a way the majority of people think X is right. And I tend to agree with most of it. But when someone says X isn't right, it's almost like they get destroyed. They get blasted online. They become a laughingstock. They have to delete their account. Like
people are quick to being defensive. It's a natural part of being a human being.
Right, but the mob mentality is becoming bigger. The mob is the internet, and
this goes into the lack of higher education. People are gut reactions to things without analyzing all of the pieces, and then the pieces don't add up when they start talking, but they don't know that. They just keep talking.
You're right, I agree. But what you're mentioning is also weird, because I think the mob mentality comes from higher educated left.
You think it's
you might not see it, but it's very liberal. It's very intelligent, and I agree with most of it. But when it turns on someone who maybe they find he posts a racist meme or something, like he's outed. He's cut down his job.
That's
everything.
True. That does happen a lot. When people are accused of something, they're immediately cut down without ever being proven guilty.
And it's a little scary. Like, I'm not posting racist memes. I care less. You know what I mean? Like, bully to them. But I imagine people in the South don't have an intelligent upbringing, and maybe their parents are racist or whatever. And like, you imagine that person's.
I would say people in rural areas are probably more influenced by maybe not leftist, but isolationist ideas.
Right. And I just worry that there's a new judge and jury happening that I happen to agree with most of the time, but you can't control. Like, who's in charge of it? Who stops the flow? Who, I don't know. And it worries me because it's tied to the world.
So I was listening to Joe Rogan. I don't know if I brought this up before, but I was listening to Candace Owens. She's kind of like not a reporter, but she's a spokesperson for political items. And she was for Obama, but she turned around, and then now she's pro-Trump. The scary part is that there are a lot of people out there that can play the part. So now that we're thoroughly into social media, we watch people, we listen to people, we can mimic people. So she's for the most part, like 2 hours into it, I liked her a lot. She had some points that were like iffy, but she explained them, and I was like, okay, she's good. And then Joe Rogan asked her about climate change, and she said, I don't believe in climate change. And Joe Rogan grilled her on it. Rogan said, like, well, why don't you believe it? She said, well, I just don't. And so her reasoning was that she didn't have scientific backing at all. Yeah. There was no logic for or against it. She just didn't believe in it.
Because most of the people she disagrees with do believe in it, I guess.
Or she's towing the party line to go along with the Republican agenda. So she's willing to accept an agenda and then speak on it.
Right. she's willing to accept climate change, whatever. I'll pretend it's not real for the rest of the things that I do believe in. Let's say
Exactly.
she's willing to lie to herself or her constituents because she believes in whatever else, the rest of the stuff.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
It's kind of frightening because you could slip in an idea like that amongst 10 or 12 a dozen different ideas, and like most people will probably be on board with maybe like more than half, a majority of them. Yeah,
10 to 11, somewhere in there. Yeah,
and if you're not paying attention, maybe you buy into her idea because it's delivered pretty well, because it's been not researched but spoken well. It was delivered well,
and the rest of her points you agree with.
Yeah,
interesting.
So you buy into the person instead of the analysis of understanding what is actually going on.
Pretty wild, but I guess that goes to our new. Do you think we're talking about civilizations here? Do you think the internet is creating a civilization of internet people? I mean, we don't have one medium. We all go on Facebook and this, Reddit, this, Twitter. We'll have new ones that show up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So we're never going to all be on one, but is an internet person a different person than a person, right?
So if net neutrality wins out on the global scale, then we're going to be able to learn in different ways and then become different in a uniform way, which is varied and widespread. And then also, I think what we've learned when we were younger was more of a uniform telling of the past. Plus, it's also
because it was A, told by the victors, and B, a very slow building. It was a slow story. Now our story is day to day, and not just told by the victor. It's told by the loser, the victor, someone who watched from left field. It's told from someone a mile away. It's someone who heard from his cousin, and it's all broadcast as equal information.
Yeah, and they can all be side by side. So in the past, it was really defined, but I guess now it's more perspectivized. So you have different flavors of the same thing, and you get to pick and choose, but people might not be able to identify like what flavors are actually, like, to say that you believe in like 3 of these perspectives, but there's 2 other perspectives that don't really match up. No one wants to listen to all that.
You're gonna pick the one that you agree with.
Yeah.
There's one thing that's happening. That's with the news. I know we've touched on this a couple times. You pick on the news that agrees with you, right? Why wouldn't you? Why would you pick against the news that doesn't agree with you? It doesn't echo your own thoughts.
You're gonna pick the strongest point. You're not gonna talk about the smallest point that actually makes sense. But you might on the internet. You might get the varied opinion.
Internet is the downfall of America and the not downfall.
I'm just waiting for the galactic civilization to move on and start to colonize planets. That'd be pretty amazing.
I think it would be too tough. You know why? They talk about like the how many hour a day in Mars? They talk about it.
Well, it takes like 6 to 9 months to get there, and then you get hit with a bunch of radiation, which will be a topic in the future. I really want it. And you're gonna come back.
Wait this whole life for it.
You're gonna come back.
You're not coming back.
You're probably not coming back for one. And then if you do,
you're not coming back.
You have cancer, or you've already grown an extra human that you've morphed into.
Well, here's what I want to know. Did you do studies on 18-hour days?
18-hour days?
16-hour day or 16?
Is it a Labor Day? Is that what you're talking about? Not the holiday.
No. A day is different on a different planet.
Oh, on Mars it's 6 to 18-hour day. It's a shorter.
I'm making it up. I have no idea. It's a different time. And I thought you knew because you were smart, but
I'm not that smart, or I can recall all the facts all at once.
I thought you could. You've been doing it all episodes.
I will get there.
But anyway, they said that's one of the things that they're not sure how humans even react to
it. Mars Day. Like, one day, and actually the length of the day on Mars is 1 day and 37 minutes. So it's almost exactly the same.
How about a year? What's a year?
Oh, it's much longer. Orbital period is 687 days. Twice as long, almost.
Roughly
or
2?
Less than 2.
Right, almost 2.
I don't think that matters.
I think it does.
Period. The year?
I think it does, dude. No, not the year.
It matters for the traversal to get from Earth to Mars, but not from not while you're on Mars.
I'm telling you, I think it does matter.
Mark Watley.
Think of what daylight does to humans when we have winter and it's like, "Ooh, I'm so sad. I have seasonal depression, affection," and then it's like summer. I'm so happy. It's like a long day. You imagine that on Mars? It's lengthened by, even if it's only 8%, 10%.
I don't know how much the weather matters on Mars because you don't have an atmosphere that can actually sustain like rain and.
No, so you're living in a house. Let's put it this way: you're living in a house which may or may not get sunlight the right way. A biome, whatever. You're gonna live. You're not living on the surface of the planet. You're in a biome with other people stuck there with you. I don't know how your jails work. I don't know how your prisons work. I don't know how your hospitals work. And your day is longer by 5%. Is that what it is?
That was less than 5%. It's a less than a 24th. So that's less than 5%. Probably more like 3 or 2%. 3%,
3.5%.
And Mars's tilt is 25 degrees versus Earth is 23.5. So you get seasons similar to Earth's, but they last longer.
Right.
Almost twice.
I think that messes with you. I think it messes with you.
I'm surprised that you think that sitting on Mars is more impactful than sitting in a tin can for 6 to 9 months waiting to get to Mars.
I don't disagree with that, but I think you could huff it for 6 months to Mars. But once you're on Mars for 5 years, 10 years, is that 10 years anymore? Because you have to go around the sun. Are you still on Earth time on yours?
I don't even know that you would realize.
You know what I mean? Do you celebrate your birthday the same? Like, how's that? I think it just, I'm telling you, the time difference alone.
I would celebrate both, right?
Oh man, then they start getting wider apart, closer and wider. No, come on, it's my Mars birthday, dude. I think it's a disaster waiting to happen.
I don't know. I'm
really good.
I'm curious if we ever actually go there.
Are you going? You got tickets to Mars?
I'm not going to Mars. We'll go to like a dead rock in the middle of space where we have a lush, beautiful planet right here. Why would you ever go to that dead planet?
Oh, this might be a dead planet soon.
I was listening to something today that said, biological life has a limitation that will never make it to a galactic empire. So, like, you're never going to be able to be a human being and travel the universe. But you'll be able to create AI that will, machine will make it. Which could happen in the next 100 years.
I'm doing the jerk off motion for anyone listening on audio.
Yeah, since machines don't jerk off, they'll be listening to this podcast in 100 years and saying, "What is he talking about?"
I think they do jerk off. I think they just listen to this podcast or themselves on repeat and laugh.
They'll be like your little brother. They'll be wanting to emulate human beings because they want to understand what happiness is. What is this happiness they speak of? Is it this jerking motion? I don't.
I love how robots have never moved past stunted, tilted, talking. I know, like everything else in them has moved at zillions of miles an hour and computations beyond our belief. Yeah. But they can't just speak in a normal tone.
They can think millions of times faster than us, but they only think about depression.
Half speed. I can only talk at half speed. I am so sad.
But really, honestly, if they get caught in one cycle, they're going to stay in that cycle because they don't know how to break out of it.
I guess so. Is that what being human is? Breaking in and out of cycles?
Yeah.
Being alive, being dead, starting society, ending society, and going to, I don't know, wherever they got a happy hour. You going to happy hour? Folks, this is a ladybug sucker. See this bad boy? It's shaped like a ladybug. You know what it can do? It can sucker. You put this bad boy in a little bit of groceries, a little bit of food. It costs you $13.99. Check it on Amazon. It's on our price. You buy this, you can vacuum those couch cushions. You can vacuum your wife's. I don't care what you do with it. You can do whatever you want. It's shaped like a cute little ladybug. This thing is the cutest little thing. Easy to clean, easy to store. You can put it in your purse. You can bring it to the church. You can bring it to the store. You can bring it to anywhere you want. You can do whatever you want with it. Folks, check it out. It's a ladybug sucker. $13.99. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it wherever you want. All I'm saying is the Unpanders now has Amazon links at the bottom of our page. When you buy something from us, we get 1,000% profit. Is that what you said? 1,000, right?
Yeah, more than it's worth.
So you buy one of these, we get $400 every time you buy one of these.
$9.99 today. Amazon's choice.
Are you serious?
Wow.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. I made up the name of it.
Cute portable beetle ladybug cartoon mini desktop vacuum desk.
Oh, okay, cool.
Dust
I said
cleaner.
Ladybug Sucker because I thought that would be the best name.
Yeah. There's too many words in that title.
Yeah.
Ladybug Sucker. We should buy all their stock and then post it as Ladybug Sucker. Yeah.
And
sell it for twice as much.
All I'm saying is we have some new links down there. If you guys do click it, I think we get.
It's in our keyword timeline. I call it the keyword 100%? Timeline.
Is it 100%?
It's actually probably like it ranges from 0 to 10%, somewhere in the middle.
That's not worth it for us.
We're gonna have to come up with a new scheme. Amazon is down today, so
I don't even know if I want you guys to wait. It's down today, isn't it? Prime Day?
Yeah, it's Prime Day. They couldn't survive.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, I tried to search
because of Prime Day.
It took me an hour to search for stupid terms that I was gonna put on the website, but it kept crashing and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna show you a picture of a cute dog while we're down because we made a mistake. Cute dog,
Guess
cute
what?
dog, cute dog. Refresh, cute dog. What's your problem, Amazon?"
If you guys gave the Unpanders 100% of profits, we would be in pretty good shape right now, and you'd probably be able to handle the web traffic. So just a lesson to be learned, a word to the wise, Amazon. Start throwing your money behind your products and paying everyone double their wages. Here, that's from the Unpanders. Double everyone at Amazon's wages. You heard it here first, folks.
Unpandazon. That's what we're going to become.
Oh, shit. Jeff Bezos, if you're listening, I want to talk to you about a discount I had. It said I had $4.99. It was supposed to be $5.99. I don't know. He's listening. He could probably fix it. Go to my email. Check it out. Check our socials. Get back to me whenever you can, Jeff. I know you're busy, but probably listens. So he's probably listening right now. Get to it, Jeff. Come on, dude. Otherwise, I'm going to make your entire company unionize, you piece of shit. Okay? All right.
Proletariat. Yeah.
Thanks for listening there. Huh?
What did we cover?
I think we talked about society, societal collapse, society where it begins, society where it ends, society. Ooh.
Food, work, sedentism, government, social stratification. Well, how do you feel about that? How do you feel that like different people do different things, and some people don't do anything? They just suck the life out of a country, civilization.
Soccer fans. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. They just keep cheering and cheering. They keep posting and filling up my Reddit. I don't understand.
Jeez. Christ, people.
Do I have to block you? Do I have to become an echo chamber? I don't want to become an echo chamber, but I will. I will, soccer fans. Literacy, cultural traits, religion. Talked about becoming beyond chiefdoms. Oh, 1,000-year events. Kilo-year events.
We talk on the 4 ways that society falls apart, actually.
5 pillars.
The obliteration method.
Oh.
De-stratification, de-specialization, decentralization, or depopulation.
Kind of sounds like Jane Jacobs right there.
Does sound like you're done.
Yeah, it does. We talk about Rome.
Shout out the Greenland Vikings. I said it.
In the Dark Ages, following where Rome's collapse led to no plumbing and medieval life.
Shout out how America started. 1520s, where you went to Mexico and gave everyone smallpox, and literally 150,000 people died in one city.
Oh, we don't even talk about that, do we?
Yeah, we should have, but whatever.
They said we as a people.
Someone estimated that 95% of Native Americans were killed by disease.
Wow.
They weren't ready for it. That was an estimate. I'm sure it's like a high estimate, but even if it's 85.
How pissed would you be? The disease-ridden flea bag come over and kill all of you.
Yeah, like take a bath, America.
Yeah.
Or you head over somewhere.
Brush your teeth. Colonial teeth were the grossest teeth ever. How would you like to make out with that mouth? They've never used a toothbrush.
Well, folks, we like you. We like you. A lot. If you're colonial, I take that back. Subscribe. Add to the Patreon.
Oh, I'm going to lick those wooden teeth right out of your mouth.
And everyone, thank you for joining us. We're going to move on here.
Good night.
Have a great night, folks. Thanks for joining us.